Hi students, I wanted to just go over the study guide for Ivory Tower, that the next quiz, the upcoming quiz will be on Ivory Tower, and it will also be on inductive and deductive reasoning. So I just wanted to go over the study guide and maybe clarify a few things. So I'm just gonna straight through go through the questions and kind of hope to help you give a little more understanding. So it says, is college number one a worthwhile endeavor for most? Why or why not? Explain and use evidence from the film as support. So is it a worthwhile endeavor? They explore that in Ivory Tower. So what do you think? So there's not a wrong or right opinion on that. You might be, yes, it is. You might be, no, in a lot of ways, I don't think it is, or it could be, I don't think it is for a lot of people, or it might be somewhere in the middle, like, yes, it is, but there's this, this other the problem or something like that. So you get to decide. Your opinion is valid, whatever you choose to have your idea, right? But you do need evidence from the film to support your idea. So if you say it is, you need your evidence. If you say it isn't, you need your evidence. If you're somewhere in the middle, that's fine, but you need your evidence, okay? All right, so number two, should college be free of charge? Should some aspect of college be free of charge? For example, state universities or community colleges. Explain and use evidence from the film as support. So you get to explore your idea. That is something that's brought up in the film about, especially they explore this idea that California used to be was a leader in the free college. I guess you could call it an experiment. It worked for a number of years for sure. In this free and affordable college plan. And they go into the vision of Clark Care and all of that, right? So you want to just give your idea. So they give a lot of different aspects to free, affordable, it's expensive. They give different viewpoints, different experts with different ideas, which is, I love that. That's good critical thinking, right, about the issue. So you want to give your view, and it doesn't have to be yes, it should all be free, or no, it should not be free at all. Although it could be, that's totally fine, right? But you could also be somewhere in the middle of that. Um, Such as some aspect of college be free. And again, so you can explain what that is, and whatever your idea, you need to have evidence from the film to support that idea, right? So, but just to give you that, when they went into that about California and the free college system, sometimes we're not aware that it was not that long ago that this was the case. It's within not only my lifetime, but when I went to Solano Community College as a student. It was free. This was in the 80s. This was not that long ago. I mean, it probably seems like ages ago to us. Well, the 80s, it's like a real long time ago. In the dark ages or something. But at any rate, no, it was in the 80s. It was free. I can remember signing up for my classes, which we did in person in those days, and I had to pay 50 cents for some sort of health insurance. So I guess if you wanted to go see the school nurse or something, it was 50 cents for the whole semester, that is. So you had to pay for the books, and they were more affordable than they are today. But yeah, all the classes were free. And so people kind of have these ideas that, oh, if we make it free, like it's going to be just so many crowded classes and everybody's going to be banging on the door trying to get in and not going to let people. No, I can tell you it was totally normal. I can tell you it was just totally normal. I think that it may not be everyone's. I mean, everyone knew it was free, right? So it just may not be everyone's, dream really. But at any rate, that was my experience. Is that, yeah, it was free, and then the state university also used to be free. So like if you were going to go to Sac State or Sonoma State, yeah, free. In my time, it was not free. It was really affordable, though. I think my first semester I graduated from Sonoma State. I started off at Sac State. So my first semester there was like, I think $325, something like that. And even at that time, even though it was so long ago and we were paying with rocks and things, no, there was actual money exchange. But it was doable. Like you could, like they said in the film, you could work like summer jobs or something and cobble together your money for your fees. That's why we don't have, it's not called tuition in California, it's called fees because we had no tuition for the longest time. So there is this historical precedence for this, and it was in my lifetime. I mean, not only my lifetime, when my lifetime was like a college student. So I can tell you that it really started changing in the early 90s, like a lot. So, all right, so there you go. All right, so there you go. So now, number 3, what do you think, tagging off of that question, what do you think about California's leadership and Clark Care's vision of free/affordable college for all? Can this model still work? Why or why not? So you may think, yes, it absolutely could still work. We should never have gotten rid of that. We need to go back to that. It worked before and it can work again. And then you got to show your evidence from the text. You may also think, no, I think things are different today than they were then. And that's fine too. And then you explain what is different about things, whether it's in the country, the state, whatever now, as opposed to then, and explain that, give your evidence in the film, right? So, and if it's somewhere in the middle, that's good too, right? But just remember you need evidence. All right, number 4, discuss the model of Deep Springs College, which is free of charge, but at which students work on the ranch and form a community in a remote area. What are the benefits and challenges of this model? That should be a question mark there. I'm sorry, that's a typo. So Deep Springs, remember, was as it says, it was on the ranch. And in the film, I do want to clarify, in the film, the folks had to be, the students had to be male, but now it's open to, it's any gender. So women can attend, anybody can attend now. You don't have to be a certain, male, female, or it's open to all genders. So that has changed since the film was made. But other than that, you could touch on what the benefits and challenges of the model. If you do forget what I just said and you just touch on that it was only open to men at that time, that's fine. I totally accept that because that's what it had in the film. Okay, so number 5, it says, discuss Peter Thiel's college movement. Is this a viable plan or a recipe for disaster or somewhere in the middle? Who might it work well for? So Peter Thiel, right, the Young College Movement. So discuss that. So some people think, there was a guy in the film that said, in fact, that is very bad advice to tell people not to go to college, right? So, but then other people think, yes, this is a good option because, he's helping them to be able to start a business or really get that hands-on, experience and all of that sort of thing. So you might think it's a great idea, a terrible idea. You might be somewhere in the middle. Whatever your idea is, give that and then give your evidence from the film. Number 6, discuss San Jose State's attempt to offer entry-level classes online with the online startup company. Would that model work for most students? Why or why not? Well, you guys all should have great evidence that you can give from your own experience, and you can use that in this question. That would make perfect sense, right? You are now experiencing online learning, right? As never before. As far as, I don't mean as never before. You may have taken online classes before, and I don't mean that, but I mean as far as it's never been as widespread like this, right? So you have a deeper understanding than anyone even from a few years ago. So, but you need to discuss it from the film as well. So San Jose State's attempt to do that and how well that went or didn't go, right? And explain why you think it would work well or not. Make sure to refer specifically to the film, but also from your own experience. Give that. I mean, you've had it, all right? Okay, 7, should Cooper Union have remained free of tuition? Why or why not? So you can say, again, yes, no, somewhere in between is totally fine. Give evidence from the film. All right, and I think that's pretty straightforward. 8, discuss the race among colleges to build bigger and better amenities. Why might this be a problem? In what ways could this be beneficial? Bigger and better amenities, right? Remember that, the race, and they're building rock walls, and this one has a better pool, and, that sort of thing. Discuss that, right? So that is actually something that has been happening, right, as they documented in the film. So, discuss that, and why might it be a problem? Why might it be beneficial? Give specific evidence from the film. Number 9, discuss the party pathway. Should colleges provide this path for less studious out-of-state students? Why or why not? What could be some problems with this plan? Okay, the party pathway, right? So discuss that. Remember that was in the film, right? And so is this is this something that they really need to do? They explained why they did it, right? And is this problematic? Is this necessary? Give your ideas and then support it with evidence from the film. All right, 10. Discuss the student who was on a full scholarship to Harvard. What were some of the students, not students, what were some of the challenges that he faced? Should more Ivy League colleges offer full scholarships? What benefits could such an education bring to graduates? So went into a lot, interviewed him, went into a lot about his experiences. And so, just answer the questions with your ideas about that and then give evidence from the film as support. Number 11, discuss the model of the 19th century that colleges could transform people's lives. Giving and therefore, oh, so I think I'm missing a word here. I'm sorry. So transforming people's lives and giving them the opportunity to get as many people educated as possible. That was this 19th century model that we had that really kind of helped to pave the way for the state university system and then eventually for community colleges everywhere. That there was this 19th century, which is the 1800s, idea that college could transform people's lives, and because there was this thought about that then the practical aspect of was, well, if college can transform people's lives, let's get as many colleges in as many states and as many areas as possible so people can have that experience of having their lives transformed through higher education. So discuss that. It was discussed in the film. So discuss that idea and then give evidence from the film as support. All right. And do you agree or disagree in number 12 with the statement that a democracy depends on an educated citizenry? So that was the guy that starts off the film. That was the quote, the professor. That is something he said, right? And so I love this line, and I think it's really worthy of discussion. So why or why not? So what I mean by this, because I think sometimes people get a little tripped up in this question. So what he means in it and what I'm asking about it is that, so if you are an educated person and you have had the benefit of higher education particularly, so you've had the opportunity to go to college and earn a degree, it's possible that you have also have had, just by benefit of all the classes that you've taken on this, because when you're on, in college, you don't just take only your major. You don't just take, just classes on how to do a particular skill very well, but you are taking a breadth of different classes, right? Of different, totally different to get that wide breadth of experience in education. So you're taking English, you're taking math, you're taking sciences, you're taking history, you're taking all these different things plus electives, right? So that educational experience, right? So if you, it also can, the experience of doing so can also help you to develop a higher level of critical thinking skills, to be able to see issues from different perspectives, to see the sort of the substance of them, to be able to notice the subtle differences in arguments, and things like that, to know to look for evidence for ideas. And so if you've had the benefit of that, not everyone may have that benefit, but if you have had that, how could that help you as a citizen? Could it help you in voting and making informed decisions? Could it help you with what you're looking for in candidates if they're presenting evidence for their arguments or things like that? So this is what it says here, that a democracy, which is what we have, right, that he's saying that it depends on an educated citizenry. So if people are not, I mean, especially in areas of the world where many people are not even given the benefit of learning how to read and write, that could be a huge problem, where people can have kind of, to use a cliche, the wool pulled over their eyes because they can't even read the information, right? So that's what's kind of going on here, like that he's saying there's a lot more at stake than just getting a better job, that a democracy depends on an educated citizenry. Wow, I mean, it's kind of like huge when you think about it. So it is, well, I think it is. All right. So at any rate, but you get to decide what you think about that issue and say why or why not. And then if you agree with that, and you may not, right? So you can explain your why or why not. If you do agree, what should we do as a country to ensure that people have access to education? If you do not, then you need to explain that and be specific about that. All right, 13. Define inductive reasoning and give a specific example of that type of reasoning. So I have the other videos on inductive and deductive reasoning, so I won't go way into depth here, but inductive, just kind of really think of, you see the evidence, it leads you to your big idea, right? Deductive, you have your big idea, you get the evidence to support it. So get the evidence, or observation leads you to big idea. Inductive, whereas deductive is you have the big idea, you get the evidence, right? So just kind of know the difference in that. All right, so 14, define deductive reasoning and give a specific example of this type. Again, straightforward, we just went through that, and I have videos on that, right? 15, in reasoning, what is a false conclusion, and how could that occur? Give a specific example of inductive and deductive reasoning that could lead to a false conclusion. So again, this is already in one of the videos I have on inductive deductive reasoning, but just to clarify really quickly that, for example, let's use an example of, I'll use an inductive reasoning example. Let's say that I'm going to take a bus and I'm waiting for the bus. It's Monday, I'm waiting for the bus. The bus is supposed to come at 7 a.m. The bus comes at 7 a.m. Tuesday, I show up for the bus and the bus comes again at 7 a.m. So I am going to come to the conclusion that the bus will come every day at 7 a.m. because I observed that it's supposed to come at 7 a.m. I observed that it does come at 7 a.m. So I'm going to make my conclusion the bus will, in fact, on Wednesday also come at 7 a.m. But I show up on Wednesday at 7 a.m. No bus. What happened? Well, maybe the bus broke down. Maybe they needed to change their schedule. Maybe they had a delay. There was some kind of a delay on road work or something, and it got there, but it wasn't at 7, it was at 7:30 or something like that, right? So that could be a false conclusion, right? So and there are other instances of, or types of ways you can have a false conclusion. So again, I've got the other videos on that, so I'll let you peruse those. But I just wanted to go through the questions, kind of give you, I hope, a little more clarity and help you have more insight and to be able to do very well in the quiz. All right.